He's great.
Here we go. All right. All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the North Branford Conservation and Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency to order. Again, this meeting is for Wednesday, June 28th, 2023 at approximately 6:35 p.m. First thing I'd like to do is just do a roll call of everyone seated today. We have all our members here today. We have Bob Wentworth, Bill Galenzi, Frank Borgano, Ashley Joyner, and Jerry Fishbeck. And to my right, we have David Perkins, our town planner, wetlands administrator. We have Marie Diamond, our liaison to the town council. I'm Steve Scavo. I'm chairman for this evening's meeting. Next thing, we can do a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item would be the minutes. Since we have a meeting in May, the meetings are from April 26, 2023. Did anyone have any revisions, modifications, or a motion to approve?
There's just an editorial on page 2. My reference was to the Eastern Border Fault, F-A-U-L-T, and it came across as the Eastern Border Front. There is a slight difference, but
Okay.
it is Eastern Border Fault.
Thank you. We can note that as revised to those minutes.
Since we have no one taking minutes tonight.
Oh yeah, I just noticed, I didn't see anyone. We have a recording, but no.
I will take it.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
Do you need a motion?
All right, yep, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of April 26, 2023.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. Second by Ashley. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. Those minutes are accepted. And then it's time to move on to item 4, old business. It looks like there's nothing on the agenda, so we're going to move to item 5, new business. Item A, application 2036-6, 524 Forest Road, site plan modification. Construction of a freestanding 80 by 100 foot garage storage building with office, new parking area, septic system, and stormwater activities within 200 feet of the Farm River. Owner, Centcom Properties, LLC. Applicant, James Preddy, PELS, Criscola Engineering, LLC. Before James starts with the presentation, anything you want to add, David, or should he proceed?
No, I think we should jump right in.
Jump right in? Okay.
This was approved previously as a different
Version, but similar, right? Okay.
Yeah, where's the easel?
Yeah, there usually is one in here, but
Where's the easel?
Human easel.
sorry. I'll manage.
It's called agility.
Was it? No, I'm just kidding.
Agility.
No, Frank's got it. He's coming.
Oh, okay.
It's okay, he's got it.
We'll manage. It's fine. Okay, he's got one.
Maybe bring it closer.
So James, if you just quickly identify yourself for the record too before you start.
Bring it closer too.
Okay, so.
That's okay.
Jim Preddy, Criscola Engineering, 420 East Main Street in Branford. This was the plan that was presented to you and approved last year. We're at multiple meetings, a field walk. The original plan was to add on to the existing building and move the coverage structure down below and build that parking area, new septic system, detention basin. There's been a change in plans. What they'd like to do now is keep the tent structure up at the top, move it a little bit, but build a slightly smaller parking area and a detached building in the same location that the other thing is going. Smaller than the addition, so overall roof is less, and we have slightly less parking because there are parking for some of the company vehicles inside the building. So there is a bit of a net reduction in impervious, very minimal, but there is a reduction. And but basically the same function, some assembly, storage of the vehicles, Same thing in the front, storage of, materials and vehicles. We have submitted the revised plans. There was a number of comments from David and from the town engineer, which we've addressed, all of, I believe, and it responded with a letter kind of itemizing each one of them. But I guess at this point, I'll take any questions.
I just have a quick one. The revisions are obvious, but in the original proposal, the structure close to the Farm River would have been parking. It was going to be office, right? Because now you're going to have to tie that into a septic, correct?
Yeah, it'll be tied into the same, it'll be one system for,
So that's your question. Where's the original septic? Because that's downhill. You're going to have to pump it up, or is it?
no, it'll be under that parking lot.
It's where the original, okay, I'm just.
Yeah, it's in the same location that it was before.
So it's in the same location.
Same location as it was before.
Just trying to make sure there's not a revision to that. And it looks like the catch basin is still there that we
Yep.
had approved right on the other side of the structure.
Also, from this, when this was approved, there was, part of the approval comments was moving the drainage outlet to a more centralized location, which did get incorporated in the plan. We have this long, level spreader with the outlet going basically toward the middle of the lot instead of to the south end.
So again, so that you're gonna keep the same septic. Now, you're gonna have two buildings feeding it, though. You have the new building on the lower and the upper one. Is that gonna, I mean, I'm sure the town engineer reviewed that. Is it gonna be adequate? We're gonna expand it, or is it going to be, or am I?
Did East Shore
East Shore will have to approve that.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
But generally, the limits of disturbance hasn't really changed much. Again, very minimal, because we incorporated this longer outlet that was requested from the last approval. But same slope area in the front, same slope area that was approved before.
Just the building is much bigger.
The building down below is bigger, but it's actually less building than we were putting on the
Right,
other
but
building
the building
before.
originally was up top.
That's correct.
Is there a reason why it's being moved?
A number of reasons, but most, I think specifically, is that economically adding on to the other building got really complicated because of the shape of the building.
So are you demolishing part of the other building where that parking lot's going in between?
No, this is the existing building, that's staying.
Oh, that is the
This is the
existing
existing
building?
building, so we were basically doubling the size of it before.
Oh, all right. When you drive by it, it's deceiving. I thought the building was, mentally, I'm thinking it's longer, so, okay.
No.
The lower building now, originally it was just going to be a garage, now it's going to be offices as well?
There will be in the corner of the building, and I have the architectural plans.
The
They were
original
submitted some
scope of
plan.
the work, I thought, was to expand the business itself to.
That's correct.
For the manufacturing. In this design, does this expand the manufacturing?
There will be assembly and some storage in that building as well, yes.
Can you refresh my memory of the operations? I remember I
Would you like
drive
to
by it all the
describe?
time.
We are a,
Yeah, I remember.
Bill Gannon.
I just want to know what kind of materials you use and things like that.
we manufacture filters for oil containment.
Okay,
So
that's
all of our products allow water to drain, but if there's any oil sheen, the oil sheen's removed to non-detectable levels. But the main purpose is if there's a major oil spill, it seals and locks and prevents any oil escaping. So what we do in our plans is in the upper building is to do more fabrication and welding, and then the lower building is to basically do assembly.
So it's metal parts?
We do metal, it really depends upon what the application is.
Yeah,
We
okay.
do everything from plastic parts and plastic pipes to metal oil containment that would go around pads for smaller transformers. We do storm drain inserts that are aluminum. Primarily we do aluminum welding and aluminum fabrication. And we don't want to move that equipment down below because that's much bigger equipment.
Yes.
And so that means basically the lower building, you won't be really having to bring any, I'm just worried that's close to the farm river, you won't bring anything really toxic, it's
No.
mostly assembly, you don't really have any chemicals or anything.
That's where I was going with like
That's- yeah.
solvents and things.
So it's a clean operation in
It's
that.
plastic parts
Right.
that are assembled there, and then they'd be shipped out, either brought back up to the main building, and then UPS or FedEx.
So really in that building down below, there's really no toxic chemicals or anything, oils or, I mean, other than maybe a vehicle going down there, but
And really, we don't really use any oils or anything like that in our
I
operation.
didn't think so, but I just wanted to verify, because
This is the insert from the catch basin is one of the products that they made. I don't know if it was part of the copy.
It was originally.
Yeah. We had planned on it before and discussed it before.
As an aside, I know that house next door, you guys had some kind of conflict over the driveway, the cement pad. Were you able to reclaim that now that that house has
Well, it
been?
always was ours.
I know it was yours, but they had claimed it and they were using it as a driveway. No?
The former owner never claimed it.
Okay.
He immediately said that it was not his property.
Okay.
And all the markers were there. And he is actually the one that actually installed the fence.
Okay.
And then with conflict with the son saw the fence down and, but we staked our claim from the time we purchased the property.
Okay,
in
so
2011.
So there's no conflict going on
Correct.
forward with the house being repaired and everything? Okay.
And they're okay with the driveway being adjacent? to the
They're
property?
brand new owners, and we made it clear, and actually Nature Works parks their vehicles there right now,
Oh, okay,
on our property.
okay,
Which is on the other side.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
is it
And they
something,
walk across because they don't have parking.
yeah.
see, that's something, obviously you mutually agree, because you don't look upset, that's something that you've allowed them to do, basically.
Right.
Oh, okay, that's being a good neighbor is what you're saying, they're not doing
Right,
something.
and
Gotcha.
the new owner knows where the property line is.
Well, that's important, I was just gonna say, that's important to stake it to avoid future conflicts.
And that property went up for, it was an auction, and actually I did bid on it, but the price was just too
Right.
high.
We were kind of hoping that you would take it, that way we didn't have to do this whole down below.
We tried.
We tried negotiating
remember that
with
discussion,
the
yes.
mortgage company, and we actually offered higher than what they actually got, but they thought they could do better, so.
Yeah, it's that kind of market right now.
But they're doing a nice job with the house, though, it looks nice.
Yeah.
In terms of closeness to the Farm River, and unfortunately, I don't have the original plans in front of me, I can't tell. Are you still set back from the Farm River the same distance, or are you closer?
It's a little closer.
It is slightly closer, but the detention basin is basically the same spot. We just kind of made it longer instead of wider where it was.
So is it like,
But the downhill side is in pretty much the same spot.
when you say slightly, what does that mean? Is it 10
Well, we had
feet?
to maintain the same volume, so we just.
No, I understand that, but I mean, as far as slightly closer to the river, is it
It's-
10 feet closer, 20 feet closer?
Let's see. About 15 feet,
Okay.
the edge of the building.
In the detention basin, I know you made it elongated, is that still pretty much the same distance from the Farm River? or-
Yes, because we didn't want to push the downhill slope
Yeah,
any
well,
farther
that's
out, right?
Pretty much the same location.
Correct.
And now you have a new proposed retention wall that's going in, cement?
That's on the high side, that's because there was a request to have the sidewalk connect the emergency door in the back around to the front, so that retaining wall is for the sidewalk, really.
So usually when we're considering
Precast.
approving a plan that is within the watershed or close to the Farm River, generally we reach out to the Regional Water Authority for comment, Ron Walters.
There's a letter.
Is there a letter on the new plan, or was this with the older plan? Because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, we haven't seen it.
Not in the packet.
You have it. It should be, I think, it should be in your package.
It
no?
wasn't sent out with us.
May 24th this year?
Oh, so can you just tell us what it says?
Sure. There was 4 comments. Erosion sediment controls should be installed prior to any site work. They should be inspected. Additional controls stored on site for necessary repairs. Stormwater management system appears adequate. An inspection and maintenance plan for the stormwater treatment system should be developed and included in application. That was also one of the town engineer's comments, so that's on there now. Wetlands are a valuable natural resource serving a variety of functions, including flood protection, water quality improvement. Wetlands watercourses should be well buffered from site disturbance. This project meets the RWA recommended minimum goal of 50 to 100 feet. The wetland buffer area should be maintained in a relatively natural state, and the use of lawn care chemicals in the buffer area should be avoided. We have a seed mix that's not like a maintained lawn for that area. And then during construction, all fuel, oil, paint, and other hazardous materials should be stored in a secondary container removed to a locked indoor area with an impervious floor during non-work hours. And that was it.
And then we had also mentioned on our sidewalk not to take down trees if they could be avoided.
That's
We want
correct.
as many trees to retain or to stay as possible. I had,
And if you recall, it was very deceiving. I mean, this is all wood here.
yep. I had said something about the precast concrete wall that's new. On this plan, you said it was on the upper side. It looks like it's on the river side.
No, what I was saying is that we had to connect the sidewalk around the building, so that's why that wall is there. It'll
Okay.
only be a couple of feet high.
Okay. So it's not for stability, it's just for passage.
It's for, yeah, it's to be able to hold the sidewalk in place, really.
All right.
But there was quite a bit more walls that we were able to eliminate part of this. And the stair that was coming up, we moved over, so it was more centrally located.
As far as runoff from the parking area, is that going to be, in case somebody has an oily car, the car leaks oil or stuff, is your technology going to be used to prevent?
Yes.
Yes.
That's correct. There's catch basins in that parking lot with their inserts, yeah.
Okay.
I feel good about that one.
You should really have the cleanest site in town then, because
I trust this technology works, so I'm not worried
And then you
about
could bring
that.
people to show how it works.
maybe we can bring applicants and say,
Yeah,
here's
really,
how it should be
this is
done.
what you need.
If you're near, a wetland, this is what you should do, so
Yep.
it would bring you a little notoriety.
It'll also be good for us because dirt and debris is the biggest problem with a storm drain filter, which we found out, but, we don't have a storm drain, so we have to go with what our customers tell us, so, we look forward to that.
And then,
And then you could discover new products.
Yes.
I guess my only other question in terms of the driveway and the parking is salt. Do you guys use a minimum amount of salt in the
Yeah,
wintertime?
that's gonna be a problem.
Because you're real close there.
Well, they haven't used a slope, they haven't driven back here.
Right.
I
This
know,
will be
and
first,
because it's
so.
gonna be on a hill, that's
Yeah.
why.
It doesn't snow anymore.
At least not the last few years. But to be honest with you, I haven't really thought about that, but that is a situation. I had at one point, which I shouldn't even bring it up, is actually heating the slope to keep the minimal of ice from forming, because it's gonna be a
Pretty
good
steep.
slope.
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea to engineer it in a reasonable, because it'll save on salt, but it'll actually be better for anything. Yeah.
But to answer your question, that pavement area is curved, so it'll all get caught into the catch basins in our detention system. And it'll have to go through all that before it gets discharged.
And we could always make a
Probably
special
more coming
condition,
off
like
of 22.
maybe minimize the use of salts and salt products. We
Yeah.
could add that, like we've done that before, if you'd like, I mean,
There's probably more salt coming off of Forest Road than.
for sure.
Seems like.
Was the heating that slope, was that cost prohibitive?
No, it's just something that I've talked to one of the contractors that I've used in my house that's put in radiant floor heating for me, and he's done it at some facilities, and
Yeah.
he said, you know, it really works great for
Yeah,
sidewalks and things like that.
I know a homeowner who has a very, very steep driveway on Lake Quannapock, and they put it in heat, and nothing sticks.
Yeah, and what we have in our house, it's a propane heater. So, it's something that I would look at as we get into the site work, see what the cost would be to do that. Because there's nothing worse than ice storm. You know, people can't get down.
Right.
That's worse than
Or
snow,
get out
actually.
to go home.
Yeah, that's even worse.
We seem to have more ice than snow lately, more,
Correct.
or, free, which is more treacherous than just a plain old snowstorm.
And the leaders and gutters are all tied into the storm system.
That's correct.
I'm sure Victor looked over all the drainage statistics and everything, right? He was-
Yeah, and he had some comments
I
that
saw
we've
one.
addressed.
He would have sent us something, but I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the icing, he was concerned about runoff coming down the hill into his parking area, so we added a curtain drain at the bottom of the slope.
Oh,
So,
right, 'cause it is
and that'll
like that.
that'll get tied in.
That first
yeah.
hill does go down
Right.
sharply before it kind of levels off a little bit. Any more comments from the agency members at this point? I do have a draft motion here, if someone would want to entertain it. And again, if you want to add a standard condition, that would be the time to do it, like to reduce.
And I think the only other thing about the draft motion is that the last bullet talks about the Regional Water Authority letter dated April 22nd, 2022. That should be updated to the letter May 24th,
Yeah.
May 24th.
May 24th.
I don't think that ever saw this.
Sorry, what was the new date?
May 24th,
I'd love to see the copy.
2023.
What number was that?
Oh, we need a
The
copy back
last
for,
dash.
excuse me, Bob, can I have a copy for Melissa?
I'm sorry, at the verbiage.
Yep, okay.
Here's another copy.
Here you go,
So it was May
Didn't mean to exclude you.
22nd,
24th.
May 24th.
And there are no special conditions in here?
No, that's why we have to add that.
So it's just, that's why I
About,
was looking, it's just the
Yes.
standard conditions.
So, yeah, I was gonna say we can add standard condition 10. Or special, I should say special condition 10. Yeah.
One.
Number one, you're right, you go.
Do you have an extra copy of that? There? Do you have an extra copy of that there?
Yeah, here.
yeah, and there's nothing about any kind of reseeding or any,
Is there anything here about pesticides and things like that?
I know.
Yeah, I mean, you can add whatever. Everything's appropriate, now's the time. Minimize the use of,
You're gonna continue to let the area from the building and parking lot to the river remain wild, right? You're not gonna be doing any kind of maintenance, any kind of lawn stuff, okay.
and your seeding is gonna stabilize the slopes, I assume, but
That's
you're not really gonna be mowing it or anything, right? Is it more
Correct.
just a
We're gonna-
passive?
No.
It's just
No,
permanent.
anything towards the river will remain the same.
So would you won't have to put any fertilizer or anything, it's just gonna naturally
No.
grow and stabilize the slope, and then you're just gonna, I mean, you might have to weed whack or whatever, but you won't have to.
There will be erosion control blanket and a conservation mix on those slopes.
Slopes, good.
So-
Okay.
The only thing would be maybe a picnic table that would be down by the river for people to go and have a break. because they don't go there anymore, typically now, because it's too far and too steep.
You're talking about employees, people?
Yes.
Yeah,
Just
that's
walk
right.
it
As long as-
down, yeah.
You don't, yeah. As long as we don't have keggers and parties, we'll be
No,
fine,
no. I'm beyond that.
Okay, just checking.
Well, there's a brewery not too far from here, so.
I know, I was gonna
That's
say
where they
that.
can go for their beer.
Okay,
Since you guys wrote the extra stuff.
Okay, then let's see if I got it, I have them all. So I make a motion, I move to approve IWWA application number 2023-6, site plan for proposed extension of manufacturing building and associated parking, drainage, other improvements, 524 Forest Road. Per a vote of the commission, this was determined not to be a significant activity. The following materials were considered as part of the record of this application. Application for inland wetlands permit dated May 12, 2023, submitted on behalf of owner Centcon, did I say it right? Centcon
Yep.
Properties LLC by applicants James Pretty Jr., P.E. Crisolo Engineering LLC. Engineering report dated March 24, 2022, revised June 23, 2023, prepared by James M. Preet Jr., P.E., Crisolo Engineering LLC, showing drainage calculations for stormwater management at 524 Forest Road, North Branford, Connecticut. Wetlands delineation report dated May 11, 2020, prepared by Matthew Davidson, PWS, Davidson Environmental LLC, detailing wetlands delineation at 524 Forest Road, North Branford, Connecticut. Review memorandum prepared by Victor Benny, P.E., Town Engineer, North Branford, dated June 27th, regarding IWWA 2022-6 Forest Road. Sheets 1 to 6 of 6 prepared by Crisolo Engineering LLC for Centcon Properties LLC, dated March 29, 2022, revised June 23, 2023, showing existing and proposed conditions at 524 Forest Road, North Branford, Connecticut. Correspondence from Ronald Waters, Senior Environmental Analyst, South Central Connecticut Regional Water Authority, to the North Branford Inland Wetlands Commission, dated May 24th, 2022, regarding 524 Forest Road, building addition and parking with the following standard conditions 1 through 9, and then special conditions, use of low salt dosage in winter on roads, use of oil absorbing filters in catch basins, no applications of pesticides, fertilizers, etc., and the application of a conservation seed mix on all slopes. Did I miss anything?
Just the date of the RWA letter, I think, was the only thing that was
Or was
wrong.
corrected it to May 24th? Is that what you said it was?
May 24th, 2023.
23.
Oh, what did I say, 22?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 23.
Just say the condition again.
Okay, so with special conditions, number 1, the use of a low salt dosage in the winter on the roadway and the parking lots. Number 2, use of oil absorbing filters in the catch basins for the parking lots and roads. Number 3, no pesticides, fertilizers, etc., to be used in the wetlands area. And number 3, the use of, number 4, the use of a conservation seed mix on the slopes, etc.
all right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
No, we
Aye.
have discussion?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so my question, sorry if I may. I have no problem with the special conditions that you specified. However, there's no definition for low salt, nor is there an amount. What's to prevent the owner from just going down to Home Depot and picking up a couple of bags of hay lights, throw it on the thing? So, it's like having a speed limit when there's no speed limit. It's actually, what's the speed limit? So what do we mean by low salt? I mean, you and I know what it means. It's like, don't throw haylight all over your driveway, but really, we don't have a
That's a good-
definition for that.
That's a
So
good point. Yeah, I don't have a definition for it either.
I mean, to meet the spirit of what we're trying to do, if we all agree that you're not gonna throw halide all over your property,
That's
I'm
the
good
whole
with that.
basis of my business is the environment, so,
Yeah.
granted, I don't want to impact the environment in a negative way anyway, but to make sure that none of my employees do it also when I'm not there is something that.
I'm good. But I wanted to have that discussion.
No, you're right.
Good point.
No, it's a good point. No,
That's
you're
actually a
right.
good
I
point.
just was,
Thank
trying
you.
to instill that minimal salt should be used.
That makes sense.
So maybe change the words to minimal salt dosage. Minimal salt. should
That's
be
great.
used.
That would be a good, nice revision and.
Yeah, minimal salt dosage.
So we're changing that, David.
Because it would be very hard to do a specific amount, but, because it's hard, I understand.
Yeah,
But
because
your
how do you
point is well
judge
taken,
that?
Bob.
It all depends on the weather and how
Right.
often it snows
And if
Of course.
if you ever go ahead and,
We get an inch of ice, which we can have.
Right.
Hopefully not, but
and hopefully if you can, move forward with your
Correct.
heat induction under the
that really.
pavement, it would really,
It's all gonna find out, it's all gonna come down to what the cost.
that would be good, right? Oh, no, I'm just saying, we're not holding you to that, but that would be a great, that would minimize.
So that's one of the first things I thought because of the slope.
Yeah.
Because it's a steep slope.
Right, but
Yes.
on other parts, with the walkways and stuff,
Correct.
you have to use common sense for safety.
Of course.
So you will be using some of those products.
Correct.
Yeah, because you don't want somebody to fall and get hurt.
Right,
Of course.
Yeah.
okay.
So with that minor revision,
Yeah.
I guess.
Is everyone else okay? Unless someone has any more discussion, that's, we can move ahead with a second.
I already seconded.
Seconded, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Application's
Good luck with,
approved.
we're thrilled that you're staying in North Branford and being part
Thank
of
you.
our
I'm
community.
thrilled I'm staying here too.
Yeah, we're happy you're here.
So, thanks
And
very
you
much.
make a great product. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to item 6, which is Wetland Enforcement Officer's Report, starting with item A, violation at 213 Forest Road.
So the latest at 213 Forest Road is that the Asplund cleared all the trees in front of the pond. And they took a bunch of the chips and put them on the bank of the pond. They didn't put them in the pond, they put them on the bank of the pond, and they actually planted a tree. And then I went over there and they pulled the chips back some, so they're not in the pond.
There was no discussion prior to cutting all those trees? No
Well,
discussion with us? I mean,
Was that the town that did that?
Eversource did.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
they clear cut everything.
out
They-
there,
Yeah,
there's wires?
Yeah, they did the wires all the way up and down the road.
Yeah.
I thought
They
it was
got a
them.
little carried away in a lot of places.
Right.
Well, this
Well, at
was
least
one of the
in this case,
places.
it wasn't the
Okay,
owner, though.
yeah, because if it
We
was-
use them a lot, but this
If
time.
it was the owner, I was ready to blow.
Yeah, no, I knew you were going with that, so I don't blame you, because I thought the same thing till I saw the truck there one day, and I realized what was going on.
Okay.
So so the pond is now much more open to the sun than it was
Yes.
before. I did go there a couple weeks ago, and the water's actually running through that pond pretty rapidly. There's,
Over the pond?
no, it's through, it comes
Is
in.
it
and
circulating?
it-
Because they had trenched the backside, did they fill that trench in?
There's an inlet pipe.
There's an inlet pipe they took and trenched from the pond down to the drainage. Did they fill that trench in?
I don't know where you mean. The pond, the water comes into the pond from the south,
From the
Yes.
south.
from the south.
Leaves from the south.
Further south of that inlet pipe, they took a backhoe and they dug from the pond to the catch basin. And that's how they were draining the pond. Had they filled that trench in?
Yeah, it just drains, it comes in and it drains out pretty much at the same location, 4 or 5 feet away. And then it goes
Through a
down.
trench or through the pipe? Because they originally had a pipe that went through to the catch basin. Then they came and took a backhoe without permission and trenched their yard down to the catch basin.
I don't know. How far was that? That's before my time, so I really don't know.
No, it wasn't. This was just recently. This
We
was,
brought that to your attention?
yeah, we brought it to your attention when it happened. It was about 4 months ago?
Not even.
Yeah, not even.
In front of the pond?
Yes.
That's not where the water flows. The water.
So did they fill the trench back in? Because that was one of our things that we asked you to ask them to do, was to fill that trench back in.
What was the trench? What was the
I think the
purpose of
trench is in the state right of way.
No. They took their pond, here's the inlet pipe. They then dug a trench from here down to the catch basin, and that goes under the main road.
Okay, did that lower the water level?
Yes, and there was an outlet right here originally that piped it to here, but they dug and it lowered it considerably.
Okay, because prior to that, it just overflowed.
No, it overflowed right here, because yes,
The water level's up.
it overflowed right
So I
here.
wonder if they.
It all went to that catch
Yes,
basin?
this
Okay.
is the.
I
trench
believe that's
really
where it's overflowing now, is right near that catch basin. It's not overflowing into the ditch on the side of the road.
Let me take this out.
No, he won't let us.
What Ashley's saying is it overflowed here, the water used to come in
Yeah.
right there,
Yeah,
and it used to just overflow and go to the catch basin,
Right.
but the overflow.
it's not doing
It's
that.
not
It's
doing
not,
that.
it comes in here and it
Okay.
goes out.
So I had
Like-
suggested quite a number of years ago that if they just took 7, 8 lengths of PVC pipe, attached it here, and had the water come into the pond here, then it would run back to the catch basin and out, and they would have crystal clear water.
He basically said to us,
For 8
we have no right to
pieces,
infringe
8
upon his
lengths.
right to do what he wants with his property. I mean,
Okay.
so
Jared, I need my
starting with
sheet
that,
back.
that's what we've been.
They didn't-
Even though
they
we
didn't
obviously do have regulations that regulate what
That
you
might
do with
cost
property in
$100.
a wetland, but.
Thank you.
So they altered where the pond drains, and everything still goes in, the water goes in on the south.
Yes.
The
this
water
pipe.
goes into the pond on the southeast portion,
Correct.
and it goes out of the pond on the southeast portion.
On the southwest, I mean, it's,
Well, it doesn't come out all the way down the other side, does it? Where is the outflow track now?
the outflow is 6, 7 feet away from the inflow.
So everything is staying down at the south end of
It's
the.
not circulating that way.
No.
Nothing's
Okay.
circulating,
Like
everything
it was
goes in
still
and out,
basically, it hasn't
goes in
changed.
and out at the south end of the pond.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I think we made a recommendation, I think you did, Jared, move the inlet up top and it would have a nice flow of water through there.
Sure.
Right, and there is some water that comes in from the north end, but it's not significant.
And he's got.
See, he has a nice feed actually from he has an artesian well in the back of his property. It's pretty amazing, you know? And then we were suggesting, because that's what comes through that pipe that fills the pond. And we recommended initially is to get better circulation to help, you know, is to move the pipe up front so the water would traverse the whole length of the
Right.
pond. We thought it would improve the water quality and help him out. We were trying to help him, you know, we weren't trying.
Well, that's where we are, right?
Yeah. He
So
just,
this has been going on now, how many years? Like
5, 6 anyway.
5 or
yeah.
6 years?
So we really did try to help him, David. I just want you to know that.
You know, I have a conversation with him every month. I go over and he's like, oh, here comes Perkins again, you know? And I'm like, I'm trying to help you. I gave him some recommendations on chemicals that he could put in the pond that are friendly to fish and they're, you know, non-invasive that he could do. You know, he wants us to help him with money and everything else, you know?
The main thing is
It's-
we can't have them bring like a backhoe and start digging more trenches. We gotta fix what actually, if anything, fix what's there.
Yeah, all
What's the issue? Is it getting-
solved by just getting the
Is
water.
it getting growth, excessive growth, is that the whole problem?
You've done what
Well,
you-
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, guys, what was the original problem? Excessive growth?
Algae.
Algae.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was
yeah, sheen, right?
sedimentation, the pond,
Yeah,
just over time,
sedimentation.
like any pond, it's sediment, remember there was growth, it was
Yeah.
clumps, and he wanted to know what the best way to clean it out, and one of the things that Jerry said right away, well, if you recirculate the water.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we actually, an application, we approved.
Yeah, I
if you could
remember
go in there and remove, you know, a couple feet of the sediment in there, reroute the water, and then it would have improved, it wouldn't have to do anything else. That would have,
He would have
it would have a nice
crystal clear
viable
pond.
pond, right, and it would, yeah, right, so I don't, you know, we went from there 5 years ago to where we are now, unfortunately, but,
But he didn't like being told
well, I know, he
what
made
to
it
do,
clear.
Right.
especially if it was gonna cost.
And you have, I mean, and there are plenty of ponds around town that are loaded with algae, you know, that's not
Because it naturally.
unusual. Look outside the building right here. I mean, they're,
Ponds naturally, sediment, it's just something ponds have to maintain. It's just a natural part of nature, you know, anything that has a water source of going in and out, it's gonna bring sediment. And we were trying to help them with that. We understood that. We weren't, you know, but anyway, that's just.
What is our end game here, though? I'm trying to understand and reconnect with what we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to help him, but, so if he has a situation now that's really not helpful, is that our purview? I mean, if it's not gonna help, then he's gonna have a problem in 3 years, but that's his problem, right?
I agree
We're
with,
worried about the water, and that's our purview. If it's going out clean, right, who cares what his pond does?
Well,
I think the thing is we didn't want him, again.
No,
we
I
wanted him to
understand,
take
but I'm
him
saying,
backhoe and
are we
alter
gonna
what
just keep this on the agenda for the next few years until he, like, we're worried about water, the cleanness of water going to the Farm River, right? That's
Well, that,
what we should
and
focus on, not
it's
his problem.
it's status quo at the moment. He's not changing it. He's not doing anything with it. It's just,
Is he
it's
putting
it's a
clean water
water
in the Farm
course
River?
that's existing. He's not filling it. He's not altering it. It's just,
Is he not polluting the water? That's
Right.
our mission here,
so
right?
we now have malaria
not-
in Connecticut.
But,
Yeah,
but I
but
think.
there's ponds everywhere, guys, come on.
No,
let's-
but the issue is, the issue, the way I recall it going back, is that he was doing,
Cutting
it's
through.
regulated activity.
Yeah, that's
And he was
different.
doing a regulated activity without coming to this
Without a permit,
commission,
without a-
which is the same issue that we're facing today. It wasn't that we
Okay.
said what he's
Yeah.
doing,
Mhm.
we gave him suggestions as how to approve it, but it was that we were trying to have him work within the statutes of the state of
Yeah.
Connecticut, that he's supposed to get a permit before he does
totally.
any work and do, that's why
Totally
this is
understand.
there. That's the whole
Yeah.
reason why this is here. We're not in disagreement that he wants to improve his pond, that's fine. We're all for that.
Mhm. No, I
But again, it's kind of like some other people that we've had here. They don't understand the statutes of the state, that they don't understand what this
Yeah.
commission's about. They just, they can do what they want.
Totally understand. You can't do unregulated activity, so, but is he doing? Are
He's
we
not.
past, I'm saying, are we not past that or not?
We're-
If we're not-
I
If we're
believe-
not past that, then that's an issue. If we're past that, then are we past this issue? I don't know, I'm just asking.
He's never gotten approval for anything as far as I know.
I think he got the permit and he did a bunch of work and everything has been pretty much status quo since I've been here. I'm out there talking to him once a month. He sees me coming. He knows he's not supposed to be doing anything. He hasn't been doing anything, but there are people in this world who happen to do what they like to do. And I happen to keep an eye on them because that's my job. So he knows I'm looking, and Frankie knows when he does something, somebody's
I got
gonna call.
Yeah, because
And
I got calls from his neighbors about the wood chips. So, you know, people are watching what he's doing.
But I'm not sure that it's worth keeping it on the agenda.
No, probably not.
My thing is just like you said, and I agree with Bill, you know, it's just, you know, if he wants to leave his pond full of algae, I don't care. I just don't want him going in with another backhoe
Yeah, no,
and
you
digging
can't do
another
that.
trench, creating sediment, because that's, again, that's a violation without an
I agree,
application to do
100%.
that. That's all, that's really all I'm
Yeah,
concerned
no, I
about.
agree,
Yeah.
yeah. You shouldn't be doing that, that's for sure.
So,
along these lines, let me ask you a question. As currently listed on the agenda, it says violation, if I'm reading this right, violation at 213, I'm blind as a bat. Pretty good for an air traffic controller, huh?
the range is bigger though.
Violation
Bob,
at
it's okay.
213. So is there a violation, or there was a couple of months or years ago?
There was. The reason we keep it on here is because we wanted to keep it open to allow, like, you know, our town planner to keep working with them and
Okay.
resolve it. Because with the history of his, we just wanted to make sure, we just didn't forget about it, and someday Frank gets a call, hey, he just put a double the size of his pond, or did something, we don't know
I'm
this
with you,
guy's.
but there's no violation today. Today, he's saluting the flag, he's following the law, right?
It basically was a violation, and we're just trying to resolve.
He was in violation.
He's constantly doing ongoing work and has never gotten a permit or anything for most anything he's done there.
Yes, that's why I would disagree with what David said. As far as I know, he never got an approved permit to do any work. I don't remember him getting anything approved by us.
No.
What we said to him is that we would help him if you could come in with an application. We wouldn't, we'd take away the violation and we'd allow him to actually, clean out some of the debris in the pond. And we said, we pre-approved, we were trying to help. We said, look, you come with an
He said
application.
you could get rid of some of the
Yeah,
sediment.
he had a
Years
year
ago.
back,
This
oh, right.
is
And he was
3
gonna,
years ago.
we talked, he said, well, can I
Yeah.
go and scoop it
That
up? I
was a
said,
long
yeah.
time ago.
Yeah, give us an application. We told him what we would approve. He just never did that.
Oh, you didn't do it, all right.
I believe he did do that.
Then I'll have to go back and work, or maybe we'll have to go back and check, then maybe.
I can bring that up at our next meeting, but I'm sure there's an application.
All right, if you could find that then, because it's been so long ago, I just don't.
There may be an
remember.
application, but I don't.
Because then
think
he put in the
Aerator.
sprayers, and
Aerators,
aerators,
right.
and that was part of the
We
application.
recommended to him. to
I
help
remember
with the
discussing
oxygenation,
aerators.
Yeah.
I don't know if we approved it. I remember discussing aerators.
Well, if for the next meeting, Dave, you could just
Yeah, I
check,
don't know
because
if
if there's
we
something in the file, at least we could,
I think we discussed
at least
it
we know,
after.
I would
So
feel
we
better
can-
if
I
I
remember
knew,
we
but-
discussed it.
So, okay.
So we
They're
can put
going
it on
today.
the
I
minutes
drove by it
next
and they're going.
time
That would be fine. If you
on
could
the
just-
agenda
Yeah,
for
if you could
hopeful conclusion of
Yes,
213
If
Forest
you
Road.
find out that, and then we'll hopefully get some resolution, so
The
thank you.
optimist, David.
And we appreciate you going out there, spending a lot of your time.
I put my little yellow penny on, and get my car vehicle, and
He knows Big Brother's watching, so
Yeah.
hopefully he won't do anything drastic until we figure this out.
Is he cordial?
oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's as cordial as you can be.
I'm glad. he's
Not you
cordial
again,
with
not you again.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, it's me again.
and I'm not going away. But anyway, we appreciate your work with it, because obviously we weren't getting anywhere, so. All right, I guess we can move on to item B, removal of culverts at 127 Forest Road, 363 Tucket Road.
So, you want to address that, Frank?
I guess, I'm getting calls from various people when the culverts are coming out. I sent everybody, thanks to Marie, there was a presentation given by Dee.
Yeah, it was great. Very good.
My concern is that we originally discussed this in 2017, 2018. It was a condition of doing that development over there that he remove the culverts. And originally they were delayed taken out because of the weather. Then they were delayed taken out because of the solar farm. The solar farm's finished. There's no excuses now. Those culverts need to come out. And my concern is that the time frame for taking the culverts out is by the end of September of any given year. And we're now in June. He has yet to come in front of this commission with a plan, and he needs to get those culverts out. Otherwise, we're another year into this. I think he's dragged it on long enough. And I know Deep is working with him to clear 127 Forest Road, which is behind, it's kind of a landlocked area. It's behind the solar farm. Deep is, according to our conversation with Dave, Mr. DeLongo has access through New Big Way. He has a right of access through New Big Way, so that's what his ingress and egress out of 127. And he should not be impacting Marjorie Drive. But the culverts are kind of conditionally there until that land gets cleaned. Do I have it right?
Yeah.
But it's still, I believe he's supposed to come with us with a plan unless he's working with Deep to take them out.
Well,
I can also mention, there's an owner on Marjorie Drive just wrote a long letter to the town council about her concerns about what's happening there too. So I think Deep has to look a little more into this
Yeah.
and not affect those owners on that street. But Deep is gonna be doing a lot of cleanup, as you know, as I shared that with you.
Truckloads, right?
Yes.
It's good to know, I like they're involved because they'll,
My understanding is that, excuse me, but one more thing. My understanding is the types of trucks they're using are too heavy to go over the culverts anyway. So,
They, from what I understand, they do not have complete plans because they have to get approval from you, the local authority, to remove the soil within 200 feet of the Farm River. They can't just blow away the local authorities.
so when are they, we
just need to come in
haven't
and
gotten
that's all.
anything from anyone?
Well, we're waiting for an application
right,
from them.
that's right, they're aware of that, they need to.
They are.
Oh, okay, that's what, I mean,
But it was a special condition when we approved that whole subdivision that the culverts at the end of.
I have a separate wetland application for removing the culverts that's not part of the subdivision.
It was original.
It's not in the record for the subdivision.
So there's no condition in the proposal to approve that subdivision?
Correct.
Unfortunately, one of the residents of the town pulled the application and sent it to me, and I just, because I was away, I didn't get a chance to send it. And he pointed it out, I went through it, because I told him just exactly what you said, and apparently it was not put in there.
So there was this,
I was gonna, the only thing I was gonna say is,
It was in
I
there. when we
corroborate
read it.
exactly what, you said the history of that is exactly what I remember.
It was,
What you just
it was
described.
in there when we
It was a
read,
perfect,
when we
and
read the
it's
motion.
exactly
It
what
was
happened.
supposed to be done between June and September because the water level was its lowest, and then it, for some reason, it
And
didn't.
we don't,
so there is a plan in that application that's basically written on the back of a napkin showing how they're gonna do it. The sort of quid pro quo here is that the open space part of the subdivision that planning and zoning approved, the land trust will not accept it
Right.
without the culverts gone. So we're trying to complete the subdivision by getting the culverts removed and getting the open space done, but the land trust won't take the open. So we're in this like nowhere land with a bunch of lawyers, and of course the developer says he has no money and he can't do anything.
I was just gonna ask, what is his excuse for not doing it? Because I don't think we have a bond on this, I wish we did.
The application did not.
We have a bond on the
Subdivision,
subdivision.
right, but doesn't cover the culverts, is that
Well,
true or not true?
I was flabbergasted.
I can,
Because if,
in my little sneaky legal mind, I would say that bond absolutely.
because I remember
Can be
we had a
built.
bond and I didn't think it was released, again, it's been 5 years, but if we still have the bond there, then, you know, I'm surprised, usually developers are begging to get those bonds
Well-
released, and then that's our carrot in front of them, say, well, you know, take out the culverts and we'll release it,
Correct.
you know?
And in this case, of course, it's not a cash bond,
Right,
it's an insurance bond.
right,
And he hasn't paid the premium on the insurance bond.
Of course.
yeah.
But the insurance bond is still in effect. You know, we can pull the bond from the insurance company and they have to go back after.
That is our recourse, I mean, right, we obviously don't want to.
And I've started having that discussion
Okay.
with the
'Cause I
bond.
thought there was a bond, again, thank you for refreshing me. I knew there was something there and I thought it covered that and we just haven't, you know, got to
So
that stage.
I'm sort of getting pressure from Frank to get the culverts out, from the land trust to get the culverts out, and from the developer who doesn't want to do it, and the DEEP who sort of wants to keep them in for a while. And, you know, I'm just in this,
Let me clarify something. The commission is on you, not just Frank. All of us.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm behind you
Right.
too.
Yeah,
well,
It's the commission.
We're-
Not
So
Frank.
would there be in the file somewhere
Yeah,
a
you're
copy
welcome.
of the draft motion to approve that subdivision?
oh, yeah,
The draft?
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in the draft. It might not be in the final edition.
It's gotta
but
be, I remember.
I just thought we were very adamant about that. That
We
was
talked
that
at
was
It
my
was
original-
it was a
Exhausted.
huge issue.
Yeah,
It was.
and we
I
weren't gonna
agree.
approve it if we didn't have some kind of
Right.
recourse
100%.
with, in a bond and.
We had agreement, it would be in the
I
summer.
thought we did.
Because we approved it not in the summer, and they said it's too wet. and
Right.
Water's too low, but in the summer we'll do it. We said, okay.
But when we read the proposal, I know it was in there. I'm old, but I'm not senile.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I've had a bunch of correspondence and letters with the developer and their attorneys, and, you know, we're sort of going back and forth, and at some point, we gotta, you know, cut bait and.
See, going forward in the future, I mean, if we have a proposal in a draft or the final copy where the, you know, who is responsible for giving the certificate of occupancy to all those houses that were built?
They have to get a certificate of zoning compliance from me prior to getting a certificate of occupancy.
I mean, I'm just saying that nobody should be getting a CO until all of the conditions have been filled. And if the condition were there, that should not have been ignored. Now, I believe that the condition wasn't in the final copy.
Correct.
You know.
And I think that during the last 2 years as that's been developed, you've gone through a number of town planners, and
Yeah.
the ball was dropped.
Just for my education, could you mention certificate of zoning compliance, but does that cover inland wetlands or zoning, planning and zoning? Because the question is coming from the Inland Wetland Commission. Is it one and the same, or you?
Well,
Because the question, you know, the question is, how'd they get their C of O? And you said it'd have to be an issue of certificate of zoning, but we're talking about an inland wetlands thing. This planning and zoning didn't have this culvert on there.
I don't think that there's any state statute
that's what I
or
was- that's why I'm
regulation
clarifying it. Yeah.
that requires requirements to the wetlands code
That's why I wanted to clarify it.
prior to
Yeah.
issuance
So it
of
could
a.
have in principle gotten missed. Yeah.
So when inland wetlands requires a project to be putting up boulders in perpetuity to delineate the wetland, or putting up the wetland plaques on the trees, is there any guarantee that that actually gets done?
It's a special condition, right?
It may be a special
Well, we just-
condition, but is there, you know, when the,
Who's checking?
yeah, who's, you know, are these things definitely being accomplished?
You know, if the developer applicant doesn't want to do it, I can tell them to do it, and if they still don't want to do it, the only one who's going to tell them to do it is a judge.
Well, I think though the only way that you can hold anything over them is that no certificate of occupancy should be submitted
Correct.
to anyone until all of the conditions have been met.
I agree 100%, and then they move in anyway.
So just to move forward.
They can't sell it, they can't resell the house.
Yeah, it's kind of almost like having a liens on it, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess my question is now, would it be worthwhile, since we seem to be in kind of a stalemate here, to get maybe one of our town attorneys to look into it?
I'm working
Is that
on it
something,
with the
you
town
already
attorney.
had a good one, I think, because that.
I've got the land trust attorney, I've got
Gotcha.
the town
Okay.
attorney.
You're
We're
already on top of it, that's good, okay, well, that's why I think the next, where we're headed, maybe just the threat of that could get the, you know, Delungo moving and getting those things out of there. I don't know why he, you know, wants to drag this out, but, other than money, no, supposedly, but.
You know, we don't really have much of a conversation. He doesn't want to talk. And it's difficult to talk to somebody who doesn't want to talk back. I mean, I just don't, you know, all I get is that they don't have any money. And that's not my problem. At some point, we have to take an action
Right.
and make them do it.
And that,
But when
again,
the DEP showed up and they have their issues, all of a sudden that threw another monkey wrench into it. And what was that, 6 weeks ago? I mean, it's relatively new information.
There's a lot they're gonna do there.
Or he's got other properties too that are at issue.
And my understanding is, I could be wrong, that he's not gonna get any money from the solar farm until he does all this work. That's what I heard.
could be wrong, true, yeah.
That's good.
So that would be a motivation for him to get, you know.
That's my understanding. I could be wrong, but that's what
I hope that, no, I think that's great,
Can we-
because that's a motivator for him to finish this project, and we don't, you know, move on.
Can we tie any, just grasping for things now, can we tie anything to conversations with the deep to say, this was part of an inland wetlands approval, you're concerned about water, we need these culverts out, here's a condition for anything for this guy to clean the property, attach the culvert to that.
Yes.
Deep and give the force of the state behind it.
You know,
Yeah, no, I think we
give you
can-
the
I think we can
handout
get the
if
state
you
to
want
help.
clean
State,
up
yeah.
for the next
Yeah,
meeting.
maybe if you could send it to us, could you email us?
I'll give it to Frank.
Give it to Frank, yeah,
I
Frank's,
sent it
yeah,
to
you
you
can get
electronic.
copies. That would be a good idea, just to look at it again.
Because I sent it to you electronically. I did send you a PDF of it.
That's what I thought, was that the one?
Presentation.
Oh, we do have that. Oh, never mind, I didn't know if that was the same document.
Yeah, that's the
I
document
read
we
it.
got, but it had contact numbers of people you could call and ask questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember, because I read through the
We're gonna
document.
talk to, David will talk to the deep and see if we can get them to help and maybe tie them together somehow.
Maybe Deep could help us with this and say, look, these, you know, at a certain point, they gotta get out of there. So, you know, when you get the state involved, usually that's a good ally in something like this, so. So at this point, then we'll just wait, can you report to us by the next meeting, hopefully, or if you have any progress and.
We will
That's all.
continue this conversation.
Okay. Very good. All right, we'll go to item C with discussion regarding publication of the homeowner's guide to wetlands and buffers.
My only comment on that, I mean, I think we're at the point we can take this off. My only comment on that is that the town launched a new website, and that document isn't on the website yet. And they did a nice handout with our taxes. It would have been nice if they could have put something about, I mean, we really need to get the information out, and that's where it really falls, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, on your hands. We really need to get this document out in all the public buildings, on the website, and somehow published. You know, maybe put it in the Totucket Times, or somehow get it out there.
And maybe get it out next.
Yeah, and you know, put it in the
bills.
tax, I mean, this is a gorgeous document, I mean, they did a beautiful job. That's all they really needed to do is put a little thing in here and say, hey, go to the website and see this.
I don't even know what that document is.
It's Town of North Branford News and Announcements, it came with the tax bills.
Nobody solicited my input for that document.
I believe it, I don't argue, I wouldn't.
How about the POCO, is there any opportunities?
Communicate well here, how could that?
No, having something available at the POCO, paper.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But I agree with Frank, if at very least, if you could look into getting that document as part of the website, at least a lot of citizens that I know, you know, go there and check it. I think at least we should do more than that, you know, get it out to like.
Yeah, as much as we can.
Like POCO, or just get it.
As much as we can do. I know I printed, at my own dime, I printed a bunch of copies, and I put them at the rec center, but, at Stanley T. But, it'd be nice if we can get them in other locations and on the website.
And a stack of them right here.
Yeah, there's one at the door, for example.
Libraries.
So I'll get a bunch printed and I'll get it on the website.
You could do that, that would be
We'll get it out
perfect,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great, and then I think we should just take this off the list. I mean, it's a done document.
It's a great document, it just needs to be disseminated to the public.
Yeah, it just needs to get out there. Because, you know, and this was a really nice newsletter that they put out. You know, that's the other thing, this council creates blueprint committee. In 2019, before your time, there was a document prepared on conservation and wetlands plans for the town of North Branford. Remember that? We all got copies of it. That's something that I'm hopeful gets included in this blueprint committee because the environment, because they're looking at how to land use and conservation and is really important. If you looked at, for example, if you looked at the Sound, the town of Branford, where you live in their new buildings that they're going on, they're putting in plantings for the butterflies, for the migratory butterflies and things like that, whatever they call it, I forget what they call them.
Pollinator.
Pollination, that's it. Pollination pathway
yeah.
flowers.
Yeah.
That should be part of what the town does for this, program that they're doing on the blueprint, because we should be doing everything we can to be environmental stewards. Especially we're a farm community, and I don't know about anybody else, but there's virtually no honeybees anywhere, so it'd be nice to have a lot of honeybees.
A lot of bumblebees, but not honeybees.
That's right.
A lot of bumblebees, yeah, but you're right.
I attended the Ciccarelli's presentation at the Stanley T. Williams School, and it was really interesting, and they are making a lot of effort to be environmentally
It's nice.
green. Yeah, they're doing a good job.
That's
And it
wonderful.
seems like a number of the farmers in town are doing the same.
It's super, yeah. I would think farmers would want honeybees, you know, and butterflies and things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that done.
And that was well attended?
Yeah, there was probably 80, 90 people there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had it at his
Yeah.
farm
Smith?
too.
What's that?
Where they had that Smith?
You know, I'm from North Branford, not Northford, so that, you know, Smith, the Stanley T. Williams, no, not at the library, it was at the school.
Oh, was it the school?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had it on his farm too. He had the,
Yeah, but the
Connecticut
family,
yeah.
yeah, the family actually was there, and there was a lot of old photographs and, you know, history.
No, I'm saying he had an event with people coming.
Oh, yeah.
He had his equipment displayed,
Mm.
and he showed how some of the new technology works.
That's nice. I wish I knew about that.
Yeah, the state of Connecticut came.
I missed
I
it.
think Yukon Extension came. There was a bunch of people there. It was actually really well attended. He put all his farm equipment out on the fields.
Where was it advertised?
My sister-in-law told me.
I saw it somewhere though, that event you're talking about. Forget where.
You missed it.
I think it was a land trust thing, actually. I think they put it together.
I think you're right.
Yeah, they had
That's where I saw
they
it.
had a 10-minute meeting in advance of the presentation. The presentation was done now.
That's what it was.
Very good. All right, I guess then we can move on to the last two items, our DA approval items. First one is at 667 Lake Road, IWWA 2035-5, installation of above-ground pool. The second one is at 24 Arthur Road, IWWA application 2023-7, removal of bamboo and roots.
So the 67 Lake Road, they're about 50 feet from the wetlands, and they were just putting in a pool. Everybody at the end of the cul-de-sac is close to the wetlands, and it didn't seem to be much of an issue.
Basically on a lawn, I assume, just on their backyard.
Yeah.
There's nothing, and no, above ground, there really is no excavation, they just.
And actually, the wetlands, if you look at the wetlands map, it goes over their house.
So it was one of those it probably was built before the 70s and, well,
Yeah, I mean, those wetland maps are from 1968, so you gotta take them with a grain of salt.
right.
And I think they've receded in that area. The 24 Arthur Road, I drove by, that's the brook there.
Munger?
No, it's not Munger.
No, it's,
Near Terrell
There's a
Farms.
brook that comes off
Yeah, off Terrell.
that goes parallel with Route 80,
Yeah.
across from the high school.
yeah, oh, okay, right, yeah.
And they were like digging, there were all sorts of bulldozers and stuff, and they were right next to it. And I went over, and the whole side of the property was running bamboo. So running bamboo is illegal in Connecticut. In fact, zoning enforcement officers are the enforcement person to tell you to rip out your running bamboo. So,
Any particular
So
reason
it's
for that?
requiring heavy equipment to do it, huh?
well, they did it with mini backhoes and they just scraped it away and they were like, well, we're just doing this. And I said, fine, you can just do it, but you need a silt fence and you need a plan and you need to replant it. And they did a really nice job.
Good.
I have a question on that, though. I mean, you said it was, you're not supposed to grow bamboo, there's a rule on it?
There's two types of bamboo.
What's the difference? I don't follow.
It'll take over everywhere.
One of
So it's an
them,
invasive species, is that what we're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very
Bad.
destructive of land
Yeah.
and
One
It's
wetlands,
a
yeah.
state statute that you can't plant it.
Yeah.
I thought
If you
there,
do plant it, it's a $100 a day fine.
I thought there's a couple types of bamboo. One of them will run, as you say, which is almost impossible to stop unless you take drastic measures. But there's another type that I thought you could contain.
Oh, no, you can contain a lot of bamboos, but the running bamboo, the one that you first
You can
described,
contain,
Are
it
all
just spreads
bamboos
it, yeah.
illegal in
No.
Connecticut? No,
No,
just the
no.
running bamboo.
you can contain sort of running bamboo as long, but you have to dig all the way down and have it up on the top and circle
Exactly.
it.
Around the roots.
But
just
once-
you can plant it as long as you follow Bill's instructions.
Right.
So can I ask a question? So when they dig out the bamboo, it doesn't come back even though they've dug it out?
It goes down, I actually had some and I had to take it out because my brother-in-law gave it, I didn't know what it was. And I look out a couple years later and it was everywhere. And I ripped it out, this years ago, it never came back. But it only goes down, it jumps this way laterally, it doesn't go down. So you have to just rip it all out.
So-
And it will just, one year it'll be this big and next year it's just everywhere. It's bad.
So I drive by this property every day on my way to my house, and when they ripped the bamboo out, I thought, well, why are they doing that? Because it was a beautiful screen of
Yeah,
bamboo,
I know.
mature trees, they must have been at least 20-something years old. And I'm thinking, these are helping to preserve the bank, you know, that little stream that goes in there. Now you rip all that out. Who approved that? Well, come to find out, thanks to you, that apparently this is not supposed to be there in the first place.
No, because that'll just keep going. It's the
All right.
problem.
It's
And
actually,
it is
It'll
all,
go everywhere.
the grass is growing,
Well, it's gone, so.
the grass is growing back and the
Yeah,
bank's
yeah.
held together and,
Okay.
There's been precedent legally that the neighbor can sue the heck out of you too.
yeah.
If it
Okay.
goes on your property and you started it here, you
Yeah.
can prove that, you
Okay.
can sue that.
So can I?
So it's sort of an interesting
Bad.
situation from an enforcement officer that I was enforcing the Conservation Commission's stop the running bamboo, and I was also enforcing digging in the wetlands at the same time, so there
Yeah,
was
it
like,
was really
It's
good.
conflicting almost,
So
yeah.
do they, in situations
But the end
like-
result was good. You were
the end
happy.
result was great.
Good.
in situations like this, I mean, I have no issues with what you did, so I'm not, but in situations like these two, do they still file a permit with the town and get to file the applications and pay the fees and everything?
Yeah,
Fines.
Okay.
Fines.
yeah, no, we have a folder and an application and
so they actually came to you and took out an application before they started ripping it up?
No, probably after.
no, after they started. But they came in, they came in an hour after I went out and told them that they had to come in, so they were very
Very
reactive.
compliant then, that happened. It's not the
They
first
didn't
time
know,
this
I mean,
happened.
they,
Yeah.
But I'm glad they didn't argue with you, they came in, they did what they're supposed to do, and
so if
They
they'd
didn't read the
got, if they had
brochure, that's
gotten
why. Because no one.
our little pamphlet in the mail, they would have known better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
as, well, with a lot of citizens, that's why it's all.
So did you get 4 times the application fee?
No.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, we got to be little. And I just want a comment, because I know we want to adjourn. 626 Forest Road, the grass is coming in nice. They're really doing a nice job there, I think.
Good.
That's where we had, we had that unfortunate issue,
The white.
which should have been a one meeting, went on for many meetings, but
The one who had the special letters for us, well, you want to,
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
it's
So
really
that's actually
looking, it's really looking nice if you go
Good.
by and he put the hay bales down. I don't know if he put riprap because I can't see, but he did put the hay bales down and he put in soil, planted seed, and the grass is coming up. This weather should definitely come up, and I haven't seen any activity in the back, so I'm assuming he's.
They've been great, and she's She actually has joined the Friends of the Farm River Estuary,
Oh, really?
which is a proactive Farm River
that's
group,
nice.
and she's at the meetings all the time. And actually, we've created a new Friend of the Farm River during that process.
Yeah. The property actually right now looks like it's been, like it hasn't been disturbed.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate what
Right
happened.
by there, I've been there since when they first started, I remember going by there, I haven't seen it now, which sounds like it's much better. All right, unless there's anything else, ladies and gentlemen, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Fast.
meeting adjourned.
See you folks again.
Did you move?
2 months is.